Laura, so you were there for a good little chunk of time. Here we are now, celebrating 70 years at WREX. How crazy is it just to think that this station that you were a part of has been around that long?
Yeah, it's really cool to be a part of the history. You know, so many moments, I think, as a young reporter, so many of your first moments kind of happen, and it happened at WREX, which was pretty big for me. So got to be a part of a lot of amazing things that normally you wouldn't experience anywhere else. I think being a part of my hometown, too, really helped be able to enhance my experience at WREX as well. So I got to, you know, I remember moments of tragedy, obviously. I remember lots of moments of happiness. I remember lots of new things that we started at the station. When I was there, we were able to begin Teacher of the Week, and we got to do a lot of series in the mornings, a lot of great famous makeovers and changing people's lives and telling those stories. And so I think it's amazing to look back on all that you were able to share with the community, and that you were the first person that the community went to so many times to say, is this true? Is this right? Tell me what's going on. And we were first on the scene so many times, and WREX was always that leader to be there.
You were the morning anchor for a while, right?
Yeah.
Did you do any other jobs before that? Or?
Yeah, I did. Was morning anchor. I actually started when we WREX had just purchased and been a part of the CW. So we launched the CW. I was part of helping to be a part of that new 9 o'clock newscast that we just started. And then I kicked over to anchor the morning show, and then also got to then just go into reporting quite a bit too, and then fill in anchor and other duties as assigned, of course. I think, you know, one of my couple memorable moments as I was the CW anchor, you know, my husband proposed to me on air as part of the 9 o'clock news. So that's pretty much one moment that I think I will never, ever forget. And I am always so thankful to WREX for making that moment happen in my life. We talk about it to this day, the fact that I got proposed to on air, and then that my wedding was covered while I was a member of the WREX team.
Yeah, it's kind of special to have that memory, right?
Yeah, the fact that you can tell your son, you know, hey, mom and dad got married or got engaged on air is pretty unique, and that's something that so many people still to this day come up to me and go, I remember when you got engaged on air. I remember that so well. That was so cool. So
yeah, it's those things that really help you connect with the community, right?
Yeah, it did. It made a big difference. You know, I think looking back, you know, I'm super grateful for people sharing their stories. I think we come into the story at some of the most challenging and emotional, draining times of somebody's life. And so, you know, to have that moment to just take a minute and just kind of connect and understand somebody is kind of step one, I think, of what I learned at WREX, was just getting that emotional connection and just, are you okay? You know, is everything all right? You know, what do you need? And just making that moment kind of special and unique, because we had a job that we had to do when we were there, but we also were human beings too. And sometimes those two lines blur together, and sometimes they're hard to separate. So I think a lot of the times I grew up a lot when I was at WREX, I think, because you're put into so many unique situations, you know. You come in as a young reporter and young anchor, and you're learning budgets, and you're learning about government, and you're learning about what to properly do when you're at a crime scene or an investigation, or the questions that you should ask, or ooh, maybe you shouldn't ask that question at that moment because that family's grieving, and you know when to kind of take a step back, and you know when to go forward. And so I think, you know, my life at WREX dramatically changed me forever, and I'm a stronger person because of working in the media. I'm a better communications manager at the Park District right now because of what I was able to do at WREX, and I think I just appreciate everybody for all the years, all the colleagues, and all the great people that we met along the way. I definitely created a lot of great friendships that are lifelong friendships because of the media.
Yeah, that's one of the things that a lot of people have mentioned to me, just being that smaller newsroom, that family feeling. Just yeah, can you kind of expand on that? Just seeing everyone come together to, you know, everyone's in the same boat, right? Yeah,
we shared a lot together. Not only are you working just crazy hours, I mean, we were at the station, you know, sometimes 12, 14, 16-hour days, you know, snowstorms, you're spending the night there, you might not leave your home for days. Any severe weather, you're there for a couple days. So we did definitely grow a huge family connection. We were a family. We are a family still, I think. So many of us that were at the station at the time or through the years still keep in touch. It's kind of like that moment in time. We never forget that moment, and we could always go right back and just connect, which is so unique because you have that bond, you have that sense of what goes on and off camera. And yeah, it's a huge family. We Rexers I think we called them Rexers, right? Were they Rexers? Rexers always kind of stick together. And, you know, we went through some challenging times. You know, we all came together, you know, within the last couple of years, obviously, when we lost one of our friends and colleagues, Jeannie Hayes. I think that really, that moment really showed the strength that our family at WREX really had, because we certainly were there for each other and for the family, and it just shows you that there's more to it than just reporting the news.
What stands out about Jeannie to you? Just what made her so special?
I don't know if anybody else has covered this. I'm guessing maybe some people have, but you know, she just brought such life to the newsroom. I will never forget. We did like a Secret Santa one year, and I think she was my Secret Santa, and I actually happened to be her Secret Santa. But she went over the top for like Secret Santa. I mean, normally you get like a little candy bar, or, you know, maybe your last present's a little bit big. Maybe you spend $5. She bought me these amazing like teal fur boots, like winter cool, like boots to wear around. How she knows my size of shoe, I don't know to this day. But they were the most amazing like Secret Santa present I think I ever got. But she'd always pick up on what you wore, or compliment you, or just give you just a good feeling about yourself. That's what she was, I think, that's what I recall about Jeannie. There's so many good qualities about her. She never hurt anybody, never hurt a bug, never hurt a fly, never injured any animals. She loved animals so, so much. But man, was she first in line for you when you were going through a hardship or emotional struggles or anything like that. And she picked up on things that most people don't pick up on. And that was pretty special.
All right, let's see now, you kind of touched on it a little bit, but yeah, just having this perspective from working in the media to being on the other side now, where you're helping the media get involved and tell stories. Just what's it like having both perspectives now? I
always tell anybody who's getting into the public relations world, the communications world, which is what I do, I am super grateful for the time that I got to spend in the media, because I have a better understanding in the role that I'm currently in as communications manager, what it takes to do your job, what it takes for the media to tell a story, and the many elements that go into telling that story, and all that's changed through the years. You know, this is going to age me a little bit, but when I was at the station, you know, we didn't really have all the hype, social media. Yeah. Social media hype wasn't there yet. It was just beginning. I think I had MySpace at the time, so I mean, it was just beginning. Yeah. But we didn't have to do all the heavy reporting that you all do now on the social media front of things, and the instant interaction that you can have with the community. So I think that part of what I got in the media, of just knowing how to tell a good story, the elements that you need, the who, what, when, where, and why, that's so important. So many of those just basic things I learned. I could read a release of that, you know, we got so many releases in the media. You got so much information to ingest. I learned a lot about what was needed to be said, how high up it needs to be said, what's the point of the story, what's the main headline. You know, you learn all those things when you start reading a lot of different things that come through the wires and come through your email and things like that. So I am thankful that I got to spend the time that I did in the media in order to do an even better job with what I do now.
Did you work anywhere else before WREX?
I did. I worked at WIFR, so WREX was kind of like, well, I actually worked through college.
Where did you go to school?
I went to Illinois State, and I came back on weekends and worked at WTVO. Okay. And then while I was trying to get a position, I still kind of worked at WTVO just on weekends and fill in. And then I got hired in the Quad Cities, and then from the Quad Cities, I jumped back to WIFR, and then from WIFR came to WREX. So. And then I went to radio, and then came back here to the Park District. But my passion, my degrees are in recreation and communication. Okay. So now I get to merge those two into what I do. So.
Excellent. Anything else you want to touch on? Any other memories or memorable stories? You know, nothing will top the wedding, but.
Well, it's a personal story, I guess. So I think that's the other. I mean, I think one of the other just really. You know, the couple other things, like I think I had mentioned, just starting, you know, Teacher of the Week. I think that was a huge thing that the station, a huge initiative that the station took on during a time. I come from an education background, and so the fact that the station was just embracing Teacher of the Week and wanting to celebrate the things that the teachers were doing in the community just was so special to me, I think, at the station. And I really took a lot of pride in, and I think we all did, in honoring every single teacher that we got to talk about. So that was really cool. And then one other, I think most of my memorable moments was we had a makeover segment or something one time We did a makeover contest one time on the morning show. We did a lot of contests. We did a lot of just cool stuff on the morning show, but I remember the specific one. It was a couple weeks long, and it was literally transformational. And when I talk about the impact that we had on this woman's life, she's somebody that I connected with. I became good friends with. I followed her. We connected and talked off air quite a bit. The makeover was just one step of her journey that we got to be a part of, and then this journey of her life and bettering of herself and all those other things that happened from this one kind of contest is what really was it just hit me. You know, I'll never forget that moment of just seeing her, and I think she had, you know, not only just the full glamour view of everything with makeup and hair and all that, but had veneers, had new teeth, had dental work done, had a body transformation, you know, was really trying to lose weight and just transform inside and outside. And to be a part of that is something, again, I don't think I'd ever get to do unless I was at WREX and somebody was saying, hey, yes, absolutely, we'd love for you to be a part of this, or let's embrace this and change this life. And I will never forget that, that contest.
Yeah, it's pretty special.
So,
all right,
those are my two.
Sounds great.